The fight against climate change has reached Capitol Hill. The House of Representatives is set to pass President Biden's signature climate and health care legislation. It's the most significant federal climate change legislation in a generation. We have team coverage of the vote today throughout the day, and a look ahead now with ABC News business reporter Alexis Christoforous and ABC News' Zohreen Shah from Washington, D.C. Zohreen, the White House press secretary won't say if the entire Democratic caucus in the House will support this bill. So what are its chances of passing the House?
I thought that was an interesting exchange this morning. She was asked multiple times, and yet she wouldn't say if it would pass or not. I mean, look, you have the Senate who just passed the Inflation Reduction Act this Sunday. It barely passed. It was a 50-50 vote, and then the vice president had to break that tie. And it was after a 16-hour vote-a-rama, as they call it. And Dems still didn't get everything that they wanted in it. They wanted that $35 insulin cap that some Republicans also wanted and joined them on. But look, all in all, we still don't know if it's going to pass today. It looks very likely. The president definitely wants it to pass. The press secretary wouldn't give comment as to whether she thought it would or not, or if they had enough votes. Maybe she'd want to jinx herself, but we'll just have to see what happens the next few hours.
Now, Alexis, they're calling this the Inflation Reduction Act, but this bill is really focused on climate and health care. So how does reducing inflation come into play?
Yeah, I know they're calling it that, but a lot of economists believe that that is a misnomer for this piece of legislation. It's roughly $700 billion, this overall package. It will work to reduce our country's deficit, so that's good news in the long term. But in terms of the big drivers of inflation right now, energy and food, this does little to nothing to actually help. We're not going to see immediate relief at the grocery store, at the gas pump. Rents will not go down because of this legislation. So, you know, a number of people, including the Congressional Budget Office, which is an independent panel of economists, looked at this package, and they, too, believe that it will have minimal impact, probably a very small impact on rising prices over the course of time.
So what about when you look long term? Does it look, what economic impact is this expected to have?
So you mentioned energy and healthcare. Let's tackle healthcare, because that's probably the area where Americans are going to feel the most immediate impact. But even that's not super immediate. They're going to be capping Medicare premiums at $2,000. That's going to be at least a couple of years. The government will be able to finally work with the prescription drug companies to lower prices and negotiate those prices. Again, that's not even going to start to happen for the next 3 to 4 years. On the climate issue, they weaved it in through electric vehicles. So there are going to be some tax credits there for Americans, $7,500. If you read the fine print, a number of EV cars available in this country right now will not meet the eligibility. So I think, you know, overall, broad-based, it sounds good, but when you really dig down, it will have minimal impact.
And how are these initiatives being paid for?
Exactly. So higher taxes on a number of large corporations and the wealthy. They're bringing on 87,000 new IRS staffers to make sure there's no tax avoidance going on. But Republicans are beating back, saying that's overreach by the government, and that all Americans of all income levels could now be subject to more intrusive audits by the government.
Zohreen, what's the reaction this act is getting from both sides of the aisle in Washington?
I think right now it's just unclear if they have every Dem that they need, every person that they need to pass this, right? It's going to be incredibly close here. And the reaction from the Dems, I think they know how badly the president wants to pass this before the midterms. There's about 80-something days left. But as you heard Alexis say, I mean, look, this is something that's going to happen over time, over 3 to 4 years when you read the fine print. But Biden's poll numbers right now, about 37% across the country. And then when you specifically look at inflation, I mean, remember, this is called the Inflation Reduction Act. His poll numbers are far lower. So, you know, the midterms are just, 80-something days away. I think the Dems really want to get this passed, and we'll see if it happens.
All right, Zohreen Shah, Alexis Christoforous, we appreciate it. Thank you both.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.